To you, Mike and Melissa. Congressman Ted Poe is in town for a meeting with small business owners. He's also going to be honoring some of our heroes who have fought overseas. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first, we want to talk about the situation overseas in Russia and the Ukraine, because the alert is higher right now. Good morning, and thanks for being here, Congressman.
Good morning, Jose.
Okay, you're a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. When you look at what's happening right now, pro-separatists, pro-Russian separatists in Ukraine have declared a new republic as of today. What does that mean?
That means that they want to separate from the Ukraine, but the Russians are behind all of this. After they took Crimea, the Russian military is still on the border of Ukraine. Putin and his mischief, in my opinion, he wants to take back more of what used to be the Soviet republics. We recall, of course, he took 1/3 of the land of the Republic of Georgia several years ago. Those Russian tanks are still there. They never left. And he wants to see how much of it he can grab back. He's instigating this so-called civil war. Ukraine is trying to defend its sovereignty, and it's on the brink, I think, of really getting serious and more territory being taken by Russia.
We had an unusual situation in the last 24 hours. You had the Ukrainian forces moving in to try and take over this particular area. I think it's called Donetsk, where a separate republic was declared yesterday. But what the separatists are saying, you can take your guns, but you walk back. We're keeping all of your vehicles. We're keeping all of your tanks. What's that an indication of?
That's an indication that the military operation is probably going to take place. Ukraine has got to make the decision, are they going to use military force to control their territory or not? They haven't decided, because the Russians are on the other side saying that they are going to help these Russian-speaking people separate from Ukraine. So it's an international issue between Russia, imperialism, if you will, and Ukraine wants help from the West, and mostly the West is saying, we'll get back with you. We're imposing a few sanctions, but that's it.
Now, NATO has announced that it is rearming itself right now with a lot of U.S. armament because of the situation in Ukraine, and they're moving that equipment closer to the border.
That is correct. NATO is on alert, more on alert than they were. Ukraine is not part of NATO. That is important to understand. But under international law, what the Russians are doing is a violation of international law. The United States' position on this, we've imposed a few sanctions. I think there is an economic solution and sanction that we should probably look at more carefully to stop the Russian imperialism.
Okay, living here in Houston, the energy capital of the world, should we be concerned about what's happening thousands of miles away in Ukraine?
We should, for several reasons. One, the United States still is the world leader, and with leadership comes responsibility. And one of those parts of leadership is to make sure that American national interests and our national security interests are not invaded by anyone. And the more that the Russian imperialist bear growls and grabs land, it becomes a national security issue. But it's more also an economic security issue. And the United States, what we can do exactly what we have the ability to do, and that is help the Ukrainians on their economy by selling them American natural gas, Texas natural gas. We have a lot of it here, and we use the old Bluebell ice cream slogan, use all you can and sell the rest. That's what we want to do with natural gas to help the Ukrainian and break the Russian energy monopoly on Eastern Europe.
Well, a lot is going to be developing in the next few days on that situation, but let's talk about why you're here. You're going to be talking about some federal legislation that's going to help businesses?
That's correct. One of those pieces of legislation that I have proposed is to help hire our veterans that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. Unemployment among them when they get out of the military is extremely high. And so we're looking for legislation, or I have legislation, to tell businesses, you hire a veteran, you will get some tax incentives, tax breaks for hiring veterans, and make the process simpler so they can get those tax benefits, hire those veterans, put them back to work, put them in our economy, and that's some of the legislation as well.
And tonight you're going to be honoring some veterans as well.
That's right. We're having an old-fashioned patriotic pep rally over at the Sosa Center at 6 o'clock, and we're going to honor our veterans from all the wars, all the way back to World War II, and recent folks that have come back from Afghanistan and Iraq as well. We just want to show them, as Texans, we love them. We appreciate what they have done, and just have a pep rally, cheerleader pep rally, so to speak. So it's going to be a great event.
Great way to honor our heroes. Congressman Ted Poe, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Jose.